Oh, it just keeps getting darker for Diddy. Very, very dark. Just when you thought it couldn't get any darker, quite honestly. Obviously, he is in custody without bail in New York and is going to be facing those federal charges against him at some point. But as this investigation continues ongoing, more charges very likely will be brought against him. And we're learning more and more of the players involved in this. We're learning more and more accusations. We're going to talk about a new one here in just a moment. Robin Dreeke, retired FBI special agent, chief of the counterintelligence behavioral analysis program, joining us. Thalia Graves, she's the latest to make a accusation against him and has filed a civil suit. This case also involving his bodyguard, Joseph Sherman, accusing him of drugging SA, which we're going to say that we know what that means because we're going to not try and get flagged on YouTube anymore, and filming the assault in 2001. Filming the assault. This is what makes it a little bit different than, as far as we know, some of the others, although I'm going to guess we're going to hear more of this, is the fact that it was allegedly filmed and then distributed to other people, which to me, I'm like, what? You're number one, if you have the ability to do this kind of act on someone, and then you're going to film it, and then you're going to brag about it, and you're going to show it to other people. I mean, what does that say about the level of entitlement, arrogance, and just living on a different planet than the rest of us?
Yeah, I think it's as simple as that. They're living on a different planet. They surrounded themselves by confirmation bias and groupthink, and the more they get away with the one small thing, they're gonna keep escalating them. Because remember, our brains are rewarded when we accomplish things. Our brains are rewarded when we do the unusual. But every time we make the unusual common by just one rep or maybe two, we need to escalate it to get the same sort of satisfaction mentally from those things. That's how these people go down these roads of depravity. And as we've said before about Diddy, if he had just taken that need for more, that need for another emotional hit, instead of taking advantage of people, and he did it to serve people, he could have done amazing things in the world instead of going down this road of darkness. And the imagery I had in my mind when you opened up on this segment was that the only way he's ever going to see light again is if he finally just owns it, because there's no way out of this one, especially when you start saying there's videos involved, which we all knew there would be at some point. When you have that many people, and we're dealing with today's individuals with technology, I mean, it's a long time ago when we only had cameras and it was a little more obvious. But today, everything's a camera, everything's a video recorder. It's stuff's going to come out.
Well, I mean, I know we were expecting videos because there was always rumored that he had that and also used them as collateral, similar to Epstein. Um, so I was expecting that. I was expecting them to be more, videos of his parties or whatever. And I guess I was expecting, I guess, more consensual sex going on or whatever the hell he's doing versus like literally assault being filmed on camera and then sharing it with other people. This this just kind of blows. I mean, I don't know why I keep getting my mind blown by this, but when you're sharing that video with somebody, are you assuming that no one that you're sharing this to is going to be like, are you assaulting that person? Oh yeah. And they're not going to have an issue with this? I mean, just what on earth is this? It's I mean, we're going to see a snuff film next?
Maybe. And here's why. So many of these people we've seen that we're covering, and this is on a case I did on Nancy Grace's show the other day as well. When people have this need for control, that's what this is. I mean, think about this. You said it perfectly right there, Tony. It was like, why not consensual? He is who he is. He'd have all the consensual sex he ever wanted.
Yeah.
Well, consensual is what? No control.
Yeah.
It's the controls on the other person. So he keeps leveling up, and these depraved individuals keep testing the level of control they can exert on others. And so and again, once you have control of one group, well, that's no longer a challenge. We got to expand it, and we got
Yeah.
to keep expanding. So this is about an individual doing his utmost to continually to expand his level of control, and the levers he's using for control is hardcore manipulation through fear and intimidation And those are the negative ones. That's why, again, so few people have come out because of the level of fear, of control he's exercised over all these people's lives. I mean, if you go back to the amount of time that has been pot- potentially going on, we have potentially individuals that have been trauma bonded, as we've talked about numerous times on here. Think about that. When you're being controlled through these levers of manipulation of fear, that's trauma bonding. And then if he sprinkles some niceties at you, sprinkles some money at you, sprinkles some fame at you, sprinkles some access at you, sprinkles some women at you, whatever it is, then he's going to recontrol, remanipulate, and then sprinkle a little more. Welcome to the world of trauma bonding and cults.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly feels that way, and I would imagine, it's an insidious thing. I mean, I'm assuming he didn't, go out the door when he first started getting some fame and attention in the early '90s doing this. At least I hope he wasn't doing this like, right out of the gate.
Right.
It's a slow build, but what I mean is it kind of just a side effect of the power and the money that he had? I mean, obviously there's very wealthy people out there that have a lot of power that aren't going down this road. But I suppose if you have a depraved mind and you're already, you're dabbling in kind of dark things on a lighter level, and then it just keeps going and going. Is it one of those things where just nothing can fulfill Diddy's desires because he's always going to such an extreme that you have to go to the next place, and that next place is almost uncharted territory or extremely criminal territory?
Yes. It's simple. It really
Yeah.
is simple. As we've said numerous times, if we're trying to overcomplicate things, we're probably looking wrong.
Yeah.
This is really simple. This is an individual addicted to control.
Mhm.
And again, the first real clue to me was a couple weeks ago when we talked about how he didn't even show up to court for the $100 million, lawsuit. Because it's he's moved beyond money.
Mhm.
This is not about money. Money originally gave him the ability to control and have power, but then the power and control itself gave him that.
Mhm.
And so the money was no, I don't even think he thinks in terms of dollars and cents anymore. That, the only reason we all have money for most of us at the subsistence level, excuse me,
Mhm.
is, food, shelter, and prosperity at a small level for us and those we care about in our lives.
Yeah.
He is way beyond that. Some individuals are way beyond that. So when you move beyond the need for currency, the real currency people are going for is a feeling of safety, which comes from a feeling of control. And since we are genetically coded as human beings to be caught up in the cult of more, he is caught up in the cult of more control. And there is no bounds.
Yeah.
That's why if he had rechanneled it, like the great philanthropists in the world have done, this could have turned out much differently for him and a lot of other people.
Another thing that's been brought up quite a few times, and it may just be speculation because it looks weird. But in the context of everything else, it doesn't. It looks like, well, this should be looked at closer. Kim Porter, his former longtime girlfriend, mother of three of his children, found dead in Los Angeles
Yep.
at the age of 47. This was several years ago now. That was back in 2018, and it was ruled a flu-like symptoms. It was some sort of natural cause, basically side effects of pneumonia is what was it was ruled to be. After being sick for a very short period of time and then dying, otherwise known as a fairly healthy individual, fairly young as well, vibrant. Yeah, I mean that stuff does happen sometimes, but this this just doesn't look quite right, especially if we understand if she was the partner of him for quite a while, she knew a lot. Cassie knew a lot. Anybody who spends a lot of time with him in any sort of romantic sense, and I think that's a very loose use of that word, knows a lot about what he's into and what he's able to do. There's a book that's coming out, and the family, Diddy himself, is saying, and so as the kids, this is not her true memoir. This is all made up, and it could be. There's a lot of people going for a money grab right now. Just 60 pages allegedly from her diary. It spells out basically the same things we've already heard from Cassie and many other people. I don't even think it needs to be real to probably be true in terms of the overall content of what life was like there. Um, and everybody's going back to the autopsy and saying, well, it was this. Like, we talk about many cases where autopsies are not done well or correctly or influenced by someone with a lot of money and power from people who are far less prominent than Diddy. I don't think it's a far stretch to think that, and I'm not accusing anybody, but it's a possibility that, this cause of death may have been exactly what Diddy wanted them to put down. So that's what they did.
So
Mm-hmm.
I've been waiting to talk about this one.
All right.
Keep me chomping at the bit on
All right.
this. So, as a behaviorist, anytime we see something that deviates from a pattern of normality that happens routinely, it makes me go, "Ooh, let's look at that." So here we have a 47-year-old reasonably healthy individual that dies of lobar pneumonia. So, as a behaviorist, I say, what the hell is that? How common is it for someone to die of that? With no comorbidities, the types of things I said, if you caught COVID, you had,
Mhm.
formerly, comorbidities, which gave you a higher percentage that it's going to affect you really
Sure.
negatively.
Yeah.
You're going to die. This. So someone, a normally healthy person, roughly the age 47, the likelihood of death from that is under 3%.
And I'm guessing probably could have gotten some of the best healthcare in the world, being who she
So,
was with him.
so, so the next step I do is, so what other things could make it look like pneumonia?
Yes.
And yeah, so there's types of poisonings that do happen that can make things look like pneumonia. And so when you're conducting a normal autopsy for death, you're not going to necessarily look at the gastrointestinal system the same way that you would if you suspect that it's been foul play. If there's foul play, you look at those things. Otherwise, you tend to not to. I've covered cases before where things have had flu-like, pneumonia-like symptoms, and people have died pretty rapidly from a poisoning. Again, like you said, I'm not saying it. All I'm saying is that only 3%, under 3% of people of this bracket that she was living in, from what we see, you
Mhm.
don't know, she could have had really, really bad behaviors, alcohol over indulgence, alcohol consumption, inhalants, and all these other things can cause the same type of illness. Um, but it's a very, very rare occasion where someone dies from it. So that's the only reason I took a look at that because it's
Oh.
rare,
And this wasn't even the COVID period either,
right?
where it was a mix with COVID. Like, that is shocking. And here's the kicker on it too. And I just looked this up while you were talking. Cremated. Surprise, surprise. There ain't no body to go take another look at now, is there? Is there information that would be out there that they could look at all? I mean, I suppose they've only did so many type of medical tests on her. If they assumed right away it was lobar pneumonia, they're probably not checking for
Right.
poisons or things of that nature. So there's really not going to be a real clear way to determine her cause of death. I mean, unless there's
Yeah.
some extenuating evidence, emails, digital evidence, or something about him talking about something like this in a nefarious way of murdering her, just speculating, that would point to it, I guess.
It's really difficult at this point because you don't have a body to examine. You don't really have much to go on. The thing I'd be looking for, well, you're right on my train of thought. The only thing I thought of asking myself is like, all right, if this is what I thought it was back then, what would I do as an investigator? I would look at 24 hours prior to her coming down with the first symptoms, what she consumed and who was in her
Mm.
life at that time. And I'd just start with that.
If that can be even found out. I mean, as far as
I
what she
know that, and that's
consumed.
why I'm
Yeah.
saying at this far out, we have smoke.
Yeah.
And so I think as an investigator, they have a lot, as we've said before with Diddy, we got smoke in a lot of places. And
Mhm.
so this might just be another area to look at the smoke to see if there might be sparks of fire in there that you could actually pursue.
And this,
I think it's going to be a hard press for them to pursue
yeah.
her death as a criminal thing, but I think it might lead them down to it. Because remember, if her death was not accidental, the likelihood of other people knowing is high. The likelihood of other deaths being accidental is low. So again, she might be helpful in her death, sadly, to hopefully bring down Diddy in other ways.
Well, I mean, it seems, I mean, he led a very insulated life, but within the insulation of that life, he did talk. He shared a lot of stuff with people and was pretty, flagrant with it. Including what we talked about earlier, filming, an essay, an assault on a woman, and and sharing it. So I guess I don't think it's really above him that he wouldn't have communicated something within his, digital footprint with somebody about it. Like, I don't know. I mean, I think anything could possibly be there. It's got to be horrible for those kids right now. I mean, obviously, there's some that are just, I think, they're like mini scumbags that have also participated in some of the alleged assaults and things of that nature, and we've heard that. But I think there are probably some that really don't have anything to do with it. Um, to try to wrap your mind around that, all these accusations against your father, and try to accept it, believe it, don't believe it, and then add this on top that your mom died under these bizarre, and people are going back to that under these kind of weird circumstances, to contemplate that your dad could be capable of these sort of things. I think some of the kids know, but I don't know that they all know that he was capable of this sort of stuff.
It's an interesting question always that we see with families and kids involved in really abnormal behavior like this. We saw it in the Murdoch, Alec Murdoch, as well, and his kids, well, one surviving kid, and that is this is normal to them.
Hmm.
This is all they've ever known as a family, as kids, as children, and so now from there, I mean, think about this, like your own thought experiment. When you're at home growing up, your mom's food is the only food that's good food. The way you sleep in bed is only a good way. The only thing you do and play with your toys at home, that's normal. You go outside, and the first time you do a sleepover visit a friend's house, it's a new world, and you think they are wrong.
Yeah.
It's all back asswards
Yes.
wrong.
Yes.
And so same thing goes on here. So here's the Diddy world, very insulated, very protected. This is their norm. This is all they've ever known. So when you have people from the outside coming in, to them here,
Yeah.
it's the enemy. They're full of lies. This is what normal is. They're all just crazy out here.
Yeah.
And so one data point of them saying my dad might have murdered my mom. Oh, they're crazy anyway.
Yeah.
So see, it's the psychology of their norm, their context is going to make everyone inside that circle and sphere of control, one, not share, because there's two reasons not to share. One, you don't believe it and it's your normal, and the other is fear. So the first thing I'm gonna have to do as investigators is lift the veil of fear and expose them to, this is the hard part, so that their life that they were living is not healthy. To them, it is healthy. And that's where the real mind screw happens.
There's so many people affected by this one man in such horrible, horrible ways, and
Massive
such a
control.
public figure that got away with these things for so many years. It's still shocking every day. And again, I think we're just at the tip of the iceberg. New things
I do
coming
too.
out
It's
every day.
shocking and it's a shame. Think
Yeah.
about we keep going back. Just think of the good he could have done
Yeah.
with all he
Well,
had.
he bought 1,000 things of lube from Costco. So he helped enrich Costco a little bit. And the attorney, do you hear this one? The attorneys,
Oh,
of all the things the attorneys, because there's not a lot I think he can speak on that really puts him in a good light. But for some reason, his attorney thought it'd be a good idea to say, no, he just buys in bulk. Real thing.
that's what you do with Cheerios, man.
Nobody buys 1,000 Cheerios, even.
I guess if you're feeding a cult, you would.
Maybe. Hey, thanks for checking out the video. Be sure to follow us wherever you download podcasts, and especially Apple Podcasts, where you can get advanced episode and premium content on our premium channel right there. Also, be sure to follow us on social media so you don't miss any breaking updates on the stories that matter to you most. We're on TikTok, X, Instagram, Facebook. Just search Hidden Killers Podcast with Tony Bruschi, and you'll find us right there. Again, thanks for watching.